These are tough times for Stellantis, the transatlantic parent of the car brands such as Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. It's in the midst of a sales slump and a battle with the great-grandson of Chrysler's founder over retaining ownership. The problems are especially acute in North America.
Carlo Tavares has turned the world of Stellantis upside down, and the fallout is nothing short of shocking. Brands that once stood tall, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Chrysler, are now grappling with significant challenges, and let's be honest, we might be witnessing the unraveling of these automotive legends. What happened to these once mighty brands? Can they recover from the chaos? Or are they on a path toward irrelevance? And why should you care? Stellantis under scrutiny. Stellantis, the fourth largest automobile manufacturer in the world, finds itself in a financial whirlwind that no one saw coming. Investors and industry analysts are raising their eyebrows, and for good reason. After merging PSA Peugeot and Fiat Chrysler automobiles in 2021, the company has had to navigate choppy waters, and recent developments have thrown it into turmoil. In a stark warning issued at the end of September 2024, Stellantis laid it all bare. The company expects a staggering negative cash flow between $5.6 billion to $11.2 billion for the year. This marks a dramatic contrast to previous projections that hinted at a bright, positive cash flow. Amidst these financial struggles, the criticism targeting Carlos Tavares' leadership has intensified. But what's the deal? Why is he shouldering the blame for all these messes? Let's break it down. But before we dive into that, make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel so that you won't miss out. A pricey gamble. To truly grasp the situation with Stellantis, you need to keenly understand the double-edged sword they're wielding. Rising prices amidst slumping sales. What in the world is going on over there? If you take a closer look, the numbers tell a rather alarming story. Sales figures are dropping at an alarming rate, particularly for iconic brands like Jeep, which has suffered a notable 9% decline. And then there's Ram, ouch, a staggering 20% drop. In a bid to maintain those profit margins, Stellantis opted for the somewhat risky move of increasing vehicle prices. At first glance, this might seem like a tactical win, but hold on, this strategy could be backfiring spectacularly. Now, let's dissect the aftermath of this price hike. It's clear that affordability is becoming a pressing concern. As prices climb, potential buyers are being turned away in droves. And it's not surprising, especially with most wallets feeling a bit tighter than usual. With interest rates on the rise and economic uncertainty casting a long shadow, consumers are proceeding with caution, becoming increasingly selective about where to allocate their hard-earned cash. After all, who wants to shell out more for a vehicle that might fall short on performance or fail to live up to its advertised features? Next, let's zoom in on the chaos of inventory that Stellantis now faces. Picture this: rising prices coupled with diminishing sales have led to a jaw-dropping backlog of unsold vehicles. By March 2024, Stellantis found itself with an astonishing 1.4 million vehicles languishing in inventory, a surplus that far exceeds what you'd typically expect in the industry. This glut creates a perfect storm for dealers, who are now scrambling to sell cars that are not only becoming outdated by the minute, but also sporting price tags that many shoppers find simply unacceptable. Can you imagine the plight of these dealers, left clutching the unsold inventory while trying to find a way to attract buyers? They're standing there with a lot full of cars that just don't align with the current market demand. Prices are sky high, sales are on a downward trajectory, and frankly, it's a recipe for disaster. Now let's move on to the other reason. Inventory pileup. Let's talk about the auto industry, and right now, Stellantis is really facing some challenges that everyone should pay attention to. The competition is fierce out there, and if you take a quick peek at the incentive game, you'll see Stellantis is lagging behind. What do I mean by that? While their rivals ramp up discounts and enticing financing deals to lure in customers, Stellantis is sitting on its hands with a limited array of promotions. This situation puts their dealers in a tough position, essentially leaving them to fend for themselves in a cutthroat market. Now, what does that mean for the dealers who are trying their best to push vehicles off their lots? It's intense pressure, to put it mildly. Picture this: financial stress is mounting as inventories of vehicles that simply aren't moving pile up like last season's fashion trends. And when you combine that crummy situation with a serious lack of backing from Stellantis, you've created a perfect storm, a recipe for disaster for these dealers. The reality is that many of them are grinding under the weight of expenses tied to wholesale holding onto unsold stock, all while watching their potential profits slip away. Just imagine the daily frustration of observing your inventory accumulating dust, with no sales in sight and no clear indication of when things will change. But hold on a second, it gets more complicated. Dealers aren't remaining silent about these challenges. They're starting to raise their voices. There's a rising chorus of demand for more support from Stellantis. Enter the National Dealer Council, which isn't holding back when it comes to expressing their needs. They're pushing hard for enhanced incentive programs designed to help clean out that excess inventory, a vital lifeline that could provide these dealers with a fighting chance in today's tough marketplace. Why is there such urgency? Well, if Stellantis doesn't ramp up its incentives, dealers are genuinely worried about watching unsold vehicles pile up even higher. That translates to severely hurting their profits, and let's be honest, nobody wants that. The situation isn't just shaky, it's teetering on the edge, and there's a clear message here. Stellantis needs to step up and help its dealers get back on stable footing. The stakes couldn't be higher. Without changes and improvements to their incentive strategies, both Stellantis and the dealers risk heading down a slippery slope that could lead to significant financial repercussions. Have you noticed how other auto manufacturers have been successfully attracting buyers through irresistible discounts on new models? They're opening the floodgates with incentives that make buyers feel like they're getting an exceptional deal. Stellantis, however, seems to be missing the memo. Their limited promotions leave potential customers scratching their heads as they check out competitors who offer far more attractive deals. The truth here is that consumers have choices, multiplying every minute they spend considering their next vehicle purchase. They want to maximize value in a market that's growing increasingly competitive, and if Stellantis is going to remain relevant, they need to take a hard look at the consequences of their promotions, specifically their seemingly scarce nature. But that's not all. Under Tavares' leadership, the focus has sharply leaned toward aggressive cost-cutting measures, all aimed at significantly bolstering profit margins. Let's break this down a bit. It's quite the ride. Cost-cutting versus brand loyalty. You might have heard whispers around the industry about the substantial workforce reductions happening across various brands. It's not just a few folks here and there. We're talking about major cuts intended to streamline operations and make things run more smoothly. While companies often tout efficiency as a goal, the human cost of such actions can't be ignored. For many, their roles are not just jobs, but careers, part of who they are and how they identify within the company. The reality is that behind every statistic lies a story of employees affected, and in some cases entire families are impacted by these decisions. Then we've got the plant closures. This is where the rubber really meets the road. Several manufacturing facilities have either been permanently shut down or repurposed, all in an effort to cut down on operational costs. While it may seem like a smart move on paper, shuttering plants triggers a whole domino effect that extends far beyond the immediate financials. We're talking about local economies hit hard, communities left reeling at the loss of jobs, and the erosion of traditional manufacturing bases that once thrived. It's like pulling out a key piece from a well-loved puzzle. The picture is never quite the same afterward. Next, let's consider marketing budget cuts. With reductions in budgets allocated for marketing initiatives, questions start to arise about brand visibility and the potential fallout on consumer engagement. After all, how do you expect a brand to thrive if it doesn't connect with its audience? Cutting corners in marketing feels like a gamble. Sure, you save some cash in the short run, but what about the long-term ramifications on your brand identity? Visibility is everything in today's saturated market, and dialing back on outreach could mean losing touch with those who once rallied behind the brand. While all of these measures have undeniably yielded some short-term financial gains, yes, the numbers may look rosy on the quarterly reports, the concerns surrounding long-term viability loom large. Stakeholders are starting to voice their anxiety about the path being carved. There's a prevailing worry that such extreme cost-cutting could jeopardize brand loyalty and overall identity. When customers begin to feel like they're merely a number, just another revenue statistic rather than an individual who cherishes quality and heritage, the risks escalate. Consider this. Many consumers today place a high value on brand loyalty. They want to feel emotionally connected to the products they choose. If a brand suddenly shifts its focus solely to cost efficiency, it's essentially sending a message that profit margins trump the values and traditions that customers hold dear. This disconnection can lead to a significant shift in consumer sentiment, where loyal followers turn to competitors who resonate more closely with their values and ideals. It's a risky game that could alienate many loyal customers as they seek brands that mirror their own beliefs and lifestyle choices. As Tavares steers the ship towards financial gains, it's imperative to ask what kind of legacy is being built. Will the brands remain recognizable and relatable to their customer base, or will they morph into entities that prioritize profits at the expense of the very community they serve? The conversation around preserving brand loyalty isn't just corporate jargon, it's a lifeline that connects the identities of long-standing brands with the hearts of their consumers. Revving up controversy. Now let's talk about the other strategic miscalculation. Stellantis has made the bold move from traditional engines to the sparkling new Hurricane twin-turbo inline-6 engine. Imagine the iconic V8 engines that car enthusiasts have known and loved being swapped out for something sleeker and smarter. The Hurricane promises not just a thrill, but also better fuel economy and lower emissions, while keeping power levels at stunning heights comparable to those original V8s. Sounds fantastic, doesn't it? But hang on a second, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Both dealers and consumers are raising their voices with serious critiques, and the response has been anything but smooth. Let's get real for a moment. There's a significant segment of diehard Dodge and Ram fans out there who have always cherished the raw, unfiltered power and performance that their V8 engines deliver. These enthusiasts are now looking at this switch to turbocharged 6-cylinder engines with a cautious eye. It's only natural for them to feel a bit uneasy. Will these changes rob them of that thrilling driving experience they've come to expect from their beloved brands? After all, the essence of a Dodge or Ram is deeply rooted in muscle and power. Roll back the clock and you can almost hear that rumble, so the thought of swapping that out for a turbocharged engine gives many fans the heebie-jeebies. Can we blame them? Not one bit. But let's not forget, the Hurricane engine isn't just a random swap for the sake of change. It's a central component of Stellantis' ambitious strategy to boost fuel efficiency and significantly reduce carbon emissions in a world increasingly focused on sustainability. However, the million-dollar question remains: will consumers embrace these new technologies, or will they find themselves longing for the nostalgic roar of those classical V8 engines? This dilemma is no small potatoes in a market where traditional engine performance continues to hold significant value in the hearts of buyers. Now, let's dive deeper into that classic automotive debate: performance versus efficiency. The Hurricane engine aims to strike that perfect balance. It boasts 2 low-inertia turbochargers designed to deliver rapid throttle response, alongside advanced fuel injection systems intended to push efficiency into overdrive. Sounds impressive, right? These upgrades are indeed innovative, but there's still that nagging concern that this paradigm shift might alienate the very buyers Stellantis is counting on. Those loyal fans of the traditional V8 vibe aren't just going to flip the switch overnight. They may very well be contemplating their proclivity for the hefty growl of their familiar engines against the promising statistics of new technology. In fact, this tension is manifesting itself in tangible ways. It's hitting sales figures hard. Potential buyers are looking at their options and facing a dilemma as competitors continue to flaunt their powerful and robust V8 offerings. It's a competitive landscape, and the stakes are higher than ever. Will they be drawn to the sleek design and modern advancements of the Hurricane engine, or will they opt for the tried and true power of a V8 from a competitor? The uncertainty is palpable, and that's where the challenge lies for Stellantis. So how is this all hitting Stellantis? Let's talk about each brand and see how it's affecting them. Jeep. Think Jeep Wranglers are becoming a bit too expensive? You're not alone in that thought. With prices steadily climbing and an increasing number of used models flooding the market, it seems like Jeep's once unassailable position at the top may be under threat. Buckle up as we explore this shifting landscape. The price hikes we've been seeing recently are nothing short of jaw-dropping. Take the 2024 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon, for instance. Prices for this rugged beast can soar past an eye-watering $85,000. Add in all those enticing features and upgrades, and some models are inching dangerously close to the staggering mark of $100,000. So what's driving these astronomical costs? Two major forces are at play here. First off, the latest models are loaded with advanced technology and innovative features designed to enhance performance and safety. It's true, these enhancements make each drive a memorable experience. However, they come at a cost. As you might guess, the entrance price for these vehicles spikes significantly. Then there's the market on a macro level to consider. The automotive industry has been grappling with widespread price increases driven by inflation and ongoing supply chain disruptions that continue to escalate production costs. So as manufacturers wrestle with these economic hurdles, it's the consumers who are left feeling the pinch, shouldering the burden of higher vehicle prices. Now, how are potential buyers reacting to these steep price increases? It appears that many people are starting to question the wisdom of splurging on a brand new Wrangler at these inflated rates, especially when they know they can shop around and find more affordable alternatives from competing brands. The competition is heating up in the SUV arena, particularly with brands like Ford and Toyota stepping up their game. They're providing strong contenders that often come in at lower price points. If Jeep can't address these affordability concerns effectively, they could be facing a downturn in sales that may hurt their reputation and market position in the long run. So will Jeep adapt and reclaim its territory, or will the rising tide of competition sweep them away? Only time will tell. Chrysler is currently navigating through some turbulent waters, and the signs aren't looking good. The brand is experiencing a significant decline, primarily because its vehicle lineup is severely restricted, making it increasingly difficult to keep pace in the rapid-fire world of the automotive market. Can you believe this? Chrysler now has just 2 models to offer, the Chrysler 300 sedan and the Pacifica minivan. This alarming reduction has sparked a wave of concern among consumers and industry insiders alike, prompting many to ponder the brand's uncertain future. Let's take a closer look at this painfully limited lineup. Right now, Chrysler is essentially offering just the 300 and the Pacifica. Seriously, this lack of diversity not only narrows down consumer choices, but also leaves Chrysler lagging far behind competitors who boast a much more extensive range of vehicles. Just think about how dominant SUVs and crossovers have become in today's marketplace. They're taking the lead. The landscape of the automotive industry has undergone a monumental shift. In traditional sedans like the Chrysler 300 are struggling to keep their heads above water. Admittedly, the Pacifica holds its ground reasonably well in the minivan sector, but let's face it, the sales numbers aren't robust enough to sustain the entire brand on their own. Now, let's dive into the hot topic of pricing, because it's becoming a major concern for buyers. Chrysler's remaining models are starting to come off as a bit overpriced when compared to the competition. Take the Pacifica as a prime example. While it's celebrated for its family-friendly design and features, an increasing number of consumers are gravitating towards alternatives like the Honda Odyssey and Toyota Sienna, which are often perceived as more budget-friendly options. This pricing strategy is making it incredibly challenging for Chrysler to attract those financially savvy shoppers who have a multitude of other choices that won't break the bank. On the behind-the-scenes front, an even more troubling trend has emerged: a frustrating lack of proactive initiatives aimed at reviving the company. Reports indicate that various proposals to breathe new life into the Chrysler brand have been completely overlooked by Stellantis management. This trend signals a worrisome absence of a coherent strategy that speaks to the future of the brand. Industry experts and insiders are buzzing with innovative ideas on how to rejuvenate Chrysler's offerings, from diving into the electric vehicle market to launching an array of new models tailored to meet the evolving demands of today's consumers. What does that mean for all of us? Well, it's a question worth pondering as we watch what happens in the automotive world. Will Chrysler find a way to reclaim its identity, or is this the end of the road? Ram truck pricing. It's become quite the puzzle for shoppers lately, with some of the brand's most beloved models being phased out and prices creeping up due to the influx of high-tech features. Potential buyers are finding themselves scratching their heads in disbelief. Let's roll up our sleeves and unpack the recent twists and turns in Ram truck pricing, and what this all means for you as a savvy shopper navigating the market today. One of the most significant shifts has been the discontinuation of the Ram 1500 Classic. This model was a favorite for those in search of a sturdy pickup that wouldn't break the bank. Now that the Classic is off the market, attention has turned to the 2025 Ram 1500, which kicks off at a staggering starting price of $42,270. That's a hefty leap from the $40,700 you would have forked over for the Classic. For anyone trying to stick to a budget, this dramatic price hike transforms the task of finding an affordable Ram option into a serious uphill battle. Without the Classic as a viable alternative, many shoppers are left pondering what their options are, as starting prices continue to skyrocket with no less expensive alternatives on the horizon. It's not shocking that some folks might start eyeing rival brands like Ford or Chevrolet. They remain steadfast steadfast with their more wallet-friendly alternatives that could better fit a consumer's budget. In this cutthroat truck market, it is absolutely vital for Ram to rethink its pricing strategy. Ensuring that there are accessible and affordable options available could be the ticket to maintaining loyalty among existing customers while drawing in new faces as well. If Ram can confront these pricing and accessibility issues head-on, they will have a legitimate opportunity to keep their customer base satisfied and appeal to those price-sensitive shoppers who are trying to navigate the often overwhelming choices in today's automotive market. With the stakes higher than ever, will Ram rise to the occasion? Will they find a way to balance their premium features with more approachable pricing? In a world where truck shoppers have more choices than ever, it's clear that the ball is in Ram's court. As the competition grows fiercer, the question remains, can they adapt and thrive, or will they become yet another brand lost in the shuffle? The clock is ticking, and all eyes are on Ram. Dodge. Dodge is currently facing some serious challenges that are taking a toll on its inventory and product strategy, and the ripple effects are being felt across its overall performance and relationships with dealers. First and foremost, excessive inventory linked to the Dodge Hornet is a massive issue hanging over the brand. Once heralded as a promising addition to the Dodge family, this compact vehicle has now gained the unfortunate label of being one of the least popular cars out there. As we look at data from June 2024, the situation appears worse than we could have imagined. A staggering 550 days worth of stock just sitting idle on dealer lots. This alarming surplus is a clear indicator that Dodge has failed to keep pace with consumer demand, resulting in dealers getting stuck with unwanted stock that they are forced to manage. It's a headache no one wants, especially when it comes with the price tag of maintaining unsold inventory. Adding to this tangled web, Dodge is also undergoing a major transition towards electrification. While this move aligns with broader industry trends that prioritize sustainability and emissions reduction, the reality is strikingly nuanced. Many of Dodge's loyal fans are wrestling with mixed feelings about this shift. They are particularly concerned about the brands and models they have come to know and love, with Dodge planning to replace iconic vehicles like the Charger and Challenger with electrified versions such as the Dodge Charger Daytona SRT. There are fears that this transition may unintentionally overshadow the very essence that made these muscle cars beloved. Think roaring engines, raw power, and a driving experience that's nothing short of exhilarating. As Dodge presses on with its electrification ambitions, the challenges it faces are monumental. Transitioning to electric vehicles is essential if the company wants to maintain relevance in an ever-evolving automotive market. Yet it's paramount that they do this while preserving the core identity that made the brand a household name in the first place. This delicate balance requires meticulous management to ensure that Dodge doesn't lose that iconic driving experience that has historically set it apart from its competitors. The projected Dodge Charger Daytona SRT aims to uphold some of the performance attributes that fans hold dear, yet whether it can truly replicate the thrilling experience of its predecessors remains an open question. So what's next for Dodge? The road ahead is fraught with challenges, but if they can effectively navigate this storm, there may still be hope for a bright future. Will they adapt, innovate, and re-establish their footing? Only time will tell, but the automotive world is watching closely, and now is the time for decisive action. But what do you think? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.